Hey, Awakening Truthers, welcome to number 67, Paradise Lost. I put together this compilation to get a body count where everybody's talking about we need to get a body count. Well, how do we do it? First of all, we got to understand what was destroyed. Look at how many buildings were destroyed compared to all the fires combined. And they keep wanting to call this a forest fire when we know, all of us, that it was anything but. But I put together all the victims' testimonies, not all of them, a lot of them, interviews, and what they had in common, their common threads. And the common threads that you'll hear about, no evacuations orders were given the day of the fire. Blocked by non-local police from leaving the day of the fires. Not many got out. Most perished. The fire trucks stood down. No winds the morning of the fire. PG&E set up a massive staging area weeks before the fires, and so did FEMA out at the Chico airport. And look at this. They're calling this a forest fire. They can justify it. Again, they were not notified. No people were notified. The only way they got out was through Facebook or through friends calling and saying, get out. But many maybe had their LoJack or OnStars turned over where they were pulled over to the sides of the roads. You know, their testimony, many had to get out of their cars and walk because that's what the police were telling them to do. Well, why were they having to get out of their cars and walk? And again, they play with the numbers here, the 666 inches of rain, and then just 15, 20 miles away, they're saying less than 2 inches of rain fell. But they got the skating rink open for all little kiddies. All right, here's the testimony, folks. You decide. And once again, I'm going to play the start of the Paradise Police dispatcher recording the morning of the event, telling people to stay and not leave, keeping them in homes.
Are we supposed to be evacuated or what?
No, you'll be notified. There's a fire north of Concal, up off of Highway 70. No danger to Paradise, okay?
Well, it says evacuation west side of Pence Road.
What says that?
Butte, fire.
Okay, we haven't been advised of that. If you have gotten a phone call or if you see flames or feel the need to leave, then do that at this time. But we haven't been notified, okay?
Initially, it was like everyone. It's a one-way road. Each one-lane road, and so each side was it was just one side going. And but as things got worse and the flames got closer, they turned it into a two-lane road, and people started going in both lanes, and it was still snail pace. Traffic was all the way behind me. It was a miracle I even got to turn out from my house to get onto the road. By the time I hit Skyway, the flames had been traveling behind me, and keeping pace with me up until a short distance before that, and then the winds changed, and so it kind of veered off to the side and stopped following me. And then I was allowed to move forward in front of this. There was a red barn kind of in front of this mobile home park, and traffic just stopped for 30, 45 minutes about that. And I started hearing that people in that mobile home park were still around their homes and their cars, and the traffic was so jammed that they couldn't pull away from their homes because the traffic went all the way back to their home, and they couldn't come down the driveway to get out onto the road and get away from their houses, which were on fire. Fortunately, I stopped. When it became my turn to move forward, I ended up actually holding back so that I could allow them out and onto the road. And once they were fully forward, the flames started slowly catching up to our cars, and there was a Pepsi truck back behind us that started unloading all their stuff with the plan of possibly having people load up in there, and then having airdrops drop on us as a last-ditch effort to keep us alive, basically. Fortunately, they attempted to make a run for Skyway, and so the group ahead of me tried to go down Skyway to get out, but which allowed me to move forward up until about I was across from this fast trip. and but unfortunately the people that went on Skyway to get out, that excursion failed. They ended up having to abandon their vehicles and then being ushered back by the firemen. And at that point, they basically told us we were surrounded by fire. We are not going anywhere in our cars. We are not escaping. We just have to sit put. And so they blocked off they blocked off the parking lot that's being put in with the Optimo and the cafe they were building that wasn't yet complete, and they blocked that off, and everyone just got out of their cars, left their cars on the road, and then went to that parking lot as a last-ditch effort place to just make our stand, and hopefully we wouldn't burn to death. What I saw was literally like the apocalypse. Like, it looked like an atomic bomb had gone off. The entire town was burned. Like, as I'm driving down Clark, there are power poles that have been burned off. So they're just hanging by the wires that are attached to other power poles, which are also singed. And, like, there was only a couple people in front of me. And as we're driving down, one of the car that was in front of me almost got hit by a power pole, which fell across the entire road. And if they hadn't been paying attention, they probably would have been killed. Yeah, it was pretty intense. But the damage was like almost every building you saw was on fire, burnt, or destroyed in some fashion. I mean, very, very few buildings on Clark Road were left standing.
In my head, I really need to leave because it said, the evacuation orders, mandatory orders, evacuate.
Wait, did evacuation orders come? Because most people say they got no evacuation orders.
No, it was a warning at first, but like I said, by that time, I was already done packing my shit and telling the neighbors to leave immediately or they're gonna die. They're gonna die. They all know I'm a firefighter. I have a big red truck, firefighter truck, and they know who I am. So one guy was out there trying to, he had a leaf blower trying to blow all the shit off, and I was like, dude, this is gonna go, and you don't want to be around here, when it happens. And then 80 football fields a minute, dude. It didn't take me long to get out to that road, and then shit started getting really bad.
So you went from Billy Road to Skyway, right?
No, I gone towards Skyway, but it was solid black block traffic. So
at 10 a.m. it was backed up, right? 10 a.m.
Oh, way before that, I left my house at like maybe 8:30 or 9:30ish. I have to look at my phone, but.
Were you part of the evacuation drills that occurred in 2017 when they did the evacuation drills?
No.
Okay. So how did you get out then if it was all backed up?
So let me finish. I made an executive decision to cut a corner on somebody's yard, kind of take out the fence a little bit, mess up my truck a little bit. But there's a side road there that's I forget what it's called, Lucky John or Lucky John something, John. But it's a side street, and it's a private road, but it comes out on Skyway. So there's like there's a few houses, and then there's a trailer park, a small trailer park, and then it pops out right there on the Skyway, right before Elliott. So I went down that way, and then a bunch of people started following me, and I'm yelling at people in the trailer park to, they need to go or jump in the truck or whatever. And they're running around trying to find their dogs and cats and put on your makeup. But I hit Skyway, and then I had to deal with my gas situation because my light was on, and that's a big truck. And the way that truck was moving, I didn't want to get stuck, so I cut it over to the left, and then there's a Valero gas station, I think, right there on the Elliott Skyway. So I got gas, jumped back on the road, and, proceeded to make my way out of there, down the Skyway. I went down the wrong side of Skyway.
Well, we're told that the people were being held up as late as 11 o'clock in the morning of leaving Skyway. They had one lane; they wouldn't let anybody. This gal was out of gas.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah, they
escorted
tried
her
to.
out.
They tried to stop me and tried to turn me around. I believe the cop told me to, go ahead and go by because he seen my firefighter plates on my truck. For some reason, that just, that's the only thing I could think of because he was standing in front of my truck making me stop all the traffic behind me. And they were trying to, say to get out and run or go turn around or something, and I was like, I'm going. I'm going to, I know what's going to happen. I can't go, turn around, go back, do anything or stop. I got to keep going down that. I knew which way I had to go. Evacuating, I was asleep.
And so how did you get out? Because I heard people that day they were stuck in Paradise. They couldn't get out till like those that got out were like 5, 6 o'clock at night.
I was trying to pass them while they were burning in their cars.
And were they all stuck in a line? It seemed like everybody was just waiting.
Some of them were, most of them were running.
Because the cars got too hot, I heard.
I don't know. Stuff was just catching on fire out of nowhere. It's hard to explain.
And
every time I talk about it, Facebook shuts me down.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm listening if you want to tell it, or if not, I understand. But a lot of people would like to understand. We're getting a much better handle on how they did it now, which we're going to be releasing shortly. But so, did you made it out at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but you were able to drive down Skyway, or how'd you get out of there?
A little secret back way and through people's fences.
So you didn't go the mainstream way where everybody was blocked and couldn't get out?
Mm-mm. There's no way.
And do you know people that...
It was like one lane.
And I know this is really a hard question. And how long you lived in Paradise?
For about a year and a half.
And...
My roommate died at my house.
Oh, gosh. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, she didn't get out in time. She went back to get her cats into it.
She went back to get her cats, and that what cost her her life?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How many people do you know got out that you personally have talked to that got out of there?
Very few.
How many do you know that you personally know that you haven't heard from 6 weeks later?
I don't know, at least a couple hundred.
Why isn't there more people asking where everybody is?
I don't know if that many people got out. Like they're saying they did.
And there were multiple convoys. We saw about probably 4 or 5. And none of the police or sheriffs that we saw were local.
That's what we heard. It was all militarized police.
Yeah, we told it was private military. And actually, as we were coming back, so we realized, okay, this is headed right for Paradise. We've got to go. We drive back, and as we're driving back, a convoy actually, we pulled over and they passed us and we followed behind them. And it turns out that convoy that was in front of us, right past our street, right at the Paradise city limit sign, they blocked the road off. Every time, now we've been in that house for 11 years. And every time there's been a fire, Pence Road is packed. And it takes hours and hours to get out. And because there's Pence Road, Clark Road, and Skyway that you're supposed to use to exit. Right. And because they blocked it right at the city limit, when we left, it was almost at, 11:30? Yeah, we left at 11:30. It was 11:30, and when we left, I could have drove 100 miles an hour all the way down the hill, because there was no other cars.
Wait, so I was told guys were parked on Skyway until like 5 o'clock at night and couldn't go anywhere.
Correct. So why did they Why was Pence Road blocked? Why weren't they using it to exit? And when we got down past Line Saddle where Durham Pence and Pence Road meet, which will then take you, if you take Durham Pence, it connects to Clark.
Right.
They had that blocked. And the only reason they let us through is because our daughter's car was almost out of gas and we couldn't go down 70 to Orville to get out. We had to take the Durham Pence Road and go to the corner at Clark and Durham Pence where that gas station was and get gas for her.
So they let you through.
So
they let you through the blockade.
They escorted us through. Yeah, escorted us actually until we got to the traffic jam. They said, "Okay, well, wait here in line. Just keep turning your car off and, you know."
Excuse me, ladies. I need to ask this question, Sharon and Susan. Excuse me, but CBS News, The Guardian, The New York Times, they're saying 52,000 people evacuated.
I don't believe it. I don't think so.
Well, how could they evacuate if it's blocked from getting out? If Pence Road, which is the upper bench of Paradise, you can't get out there and it's blocked, how are they going to get out?
And there wasn't many cars down the four-way stop from our end on Durham Pence. There wasn't many down there either. There wasn't many cars at all down there. And what's interesting too is that gas station. I ended up he had no power. No power. He had no power. There were two PG&E trucks parked out front of this gas station, and they were doing stuff, working on the power poles, but they had turned his power off. None of, we didn't lose power up in Paradise, but they had his power off. So he couldn't pump gas. So he was very kind to let me leave my car there. And we just left it, and I rode with them out. But we had, Boyd Kelly was at the sheriff that drove by. He was from Berryville or Yuba County or something like that. Yeah. And we're like, man, how'd they get here so fast? I mean, they had police everywhere down the hill, directing traffic, and
let's do the math. If the fire starts at 6:30, 7:30 in the morning, let's say, and now it's 11 o'clock, you're saying you're leaving? Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's 3 hours to get from Yuba City that they're going to be able to alert, to call, to bring sheriffs in there? Are you kidding me?
Yep. I've never seen it so well set up. I mean, they had sheriffs flagging everybody, go this way, go that way, at every light. They literally directed us. We couldn't go anywhere near Chico. We had to go. They directed all the traffic from our end of the area. From Clark to Orville. From Clark to Orville. They shut the highway. They shut Highway 99 down and wouldn't let us get on to go to Chico. We had to go out to Orville and go all the way around through Durham and those little towns to get to Chico because they shut off the on-ramp tonight. They wouldn't let us get on 99.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay, all throughout town, there's multiple car pileups, and
you're a tow truck driver.
Yeah.
And so you've been seeing these cars because you're going up there to Paradise.
Absolutely. And there's so many personnel up there, so many emergency personnel. I mean, everywhere you look, there's nothing. Everything up there is everything but local cops. There's no local cops up there.
No Paradise Police?
I don't think so. I haven't seen any.
Well, they probably gave him relocated him and gave him immunity.
It's their own backyard, and no one wants to deal with that.
Federal trumps state, state trumps local.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. FEMA came into Santa Rosa and took over the operations. Red Cross and FEMA came over, took over Santa Rosa.
You know about FEMA right there, right?
No.
Yeah, they're right here at the airport.
Yeah.
OES. Well, actually, it's OES. It's OES.
Yeah, the Office of Emergency Services.
Governors.
We're here to serve you.
The governors. It's called the. I just saw a car. I passed the car.
Governor's Office of Emergency Services.
Yes, that's what it is. And who are they? I've never heard of them.
Yeah, I've never seen.
All of a sudden, they got a big operation. Well, our tax money goes all kinds of places, don't it?
That's
for free.
Budget, bud.
Not for free, but I mean, we got all kinds of government agencies. We had no idea we had.
Not to mention, I heard the firefighters were wanting to know what the white powdery substance was on the treetops.
Interesting.
Chemtrails, maybe?
Phosphorus.
Phosphorus.
Maybe
White
phosphorus
phosphorus,
or
it's white.
magnesium.
There you go.
Magnesium.
Magnesium ignites, and with a big lighter, you can ignite magnesium.
You can show in my book on geoengineering, and I write about the desiccants of aluminum that they've been spraying for decades over us with the geoengineering chemtrails. Those get uprooted into the trees. That's why the trees catch fire inside.
Yeah.
So the desiccants, the aluminum, it's not hard to make thermite out of that. And then the plants, but with taking up the aluminum, become terpenes, and the terpenes ignite into high flammables. And so they're able to ignite using GPS, using lasers to target anything they want. That's why those cars, did you see a bunch of burned out cars everywhere?
Dude, that's all there is up there.
Yeah, just like fucking.
Okay, there used to be.
Filled with it.
Bro, it's like this. I went in.
Hey,
I'm
Doug,
going.
go sit over there, will you? So I can get, will you go sit over there if you don't mind?
I'm like, holy fuck! There's nothing left. There's nothing left.
To tell me what was your first, when you first went, or when did you first experience it? What was your first experience of this?
Well, it would be probably Sunday night. That's when they started calling tow trucks in.
And the fire had started
Thursday morning.
So it took 3 days for them to call, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday for them to call tow trucks up there?
Well, you gotta understand, the whole town's gone now. There's nothing really
Yeah,
fucking there.
no people either. There's people are dead. So what do we got to rush for?
So you went up there with your tow truck, and what did you see?
I saw just vast. I mean, this used to be heavily forest area. I mean, it was a forest town, really.
Yeah, it was just woods.
Yeah, the woods, really pine trees everywhere. They called it the tall pines, parts of it. But you go there and there's just, I mean, here's another thing about Paradise. There used to be this much pine cones on the ground, pine needles and pine
Right.
everywhere you looked. I haven't seen one pine needle up there.
Interesting.
It's red dirt and ash.
Wow.
And concrete. This thing burned so hot, the asphalt bubbled up on the roads.
Yeah, the roads caught on fire.
Yeah, they had to put the roads out. What kind of shit's that?
So what temperature do you think melts that?
Well, it's
oil.
blacktop is made of nothing but glues,
And oil.
adhesives, and tar and oil and stuff like that.
Oil,
you know
rock,
that they mix.
sand.
Yeah.
So it can bubble.
So it's going to ignite, but and rock, but it's compacted together, and the adhesives hold it together. They put adhesives in blacktop, and to ignite that, it would be like trying to ignite a wet log,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? I mean,
Yeah, it'd be tough.
it'd be tough to get a blacktop to burn.
So you drive up there, you see the cars, and you said there were people in them?
Well, yeah, there's people in just about all of them, I imagine.
Did you see any
this
victims
truck-
inside the cars? Did you see any? He said he saw bodies. There was the springs and the seats had melted down, and the people were just down low.
Sitting on the floorboard.
Sitting on the
basically.
floorboard or just sitting in the passenger seat, you know, just...
I saw that first video that they took off the air that we were talking about earlier. That guy, that one guy that you know,
The one guy that
the girl that
survived
put her
and went to
makeup
the
on.
river.
When he took his camera and first panned inside the cars, you didn't see nothing. No, there was not. Doesn't even look like nothing was there. Your eyes are looking for something, but there's nothing there. But a few fragments of bone, and flesh. If there's any flesh, it's all the way down. Just
No,
like I
man,
said, melted,
vaporized,
melted, whatever. It's gone.
It's hard
just
to
gone.
see the body inside of a car until you actually
Looking
see
for
it,
something.
You notice it, then you know what you're looking for. Then because you spot it and it looks like it's not a body in there, but you know it is because you finally
It's
spotted
mass.
it.
It's just a
And then
piece
you
of-
look at all the other cars and you start noticing, holy shit, all the cars have a body in it.
Weapons of mass destruction, man. Mass murder is what just happened.
It's
up
murder.
there.
This is this is absolutely.
And do you know people that are still missing?
And he bailed out and he stole a car. He knows how to hotwire them real quick. No keys. He stole a car real quick. Boom. Got down the road and everybody was jumping out of their cars because the wall of fire was coming their way. And he was like, "What are you doing? Get back in your car. You're not going to outrun this thing. Get back in your car." And he told several people that were running by to get in the car. And then he carved the way through front yards and backyards and all kinds of shit, just plowing through yards.
That's what you have to
And all the people I'm friends with and know are like Dukes of Hazzard. I
Yeah.
mean, they know how to drive. They can drive a car, and they ain't nothing going to
did.
stop them unless a cement.
But why originally did they get out of their cars? I mean,
Because
The cops
are
told
telling
lots
them
of
to
them.
get out,
Yeah,
run,
tell them to get out
because
and
they
run.
stop traffic because they're idiots and they don't realize they can go around the cars.
well, and these guys were saying that one lane was
kept them
completely
all down
stopped
one
and only
line.
one lane was open for access and
You don't need a
egress.
street to drive.
Yeah, you can drive over parking meters and
You just can't hit a tree. You know what I'm
But
saying?
How were the cops? Because this is one of the stories is that there was no help. No one came to help them. How did the cops tell these people to get out of their cars?
They didn't. Well, they just took all Paradise's guns.
How did they take them?
With the fire.
The fire. They were lucky to get out with their lives, let alone their guns.
Wow.
Yeah,
You know how many cars
grabbed it.
that were up there that were that they had bodies in that were packed full of guns too?
Oh yeah.
They were? Lots of them?
Yeah, yeah.
But what's
And
interesting?
as far as I can understand, they haven't even gotten a percentage of it done. That's how many bodies there are.
That's what.
And
That's
how
the
many-
main thing I wish you'd get out there and get expressed across your website is fucking they're lying through their ass.
And it's possibly how many population of Paradise would you say?
Okay, put it this way.
Probably over 30,000.
When I was up there, I do know one of the cops that was up there. One of them. The rest of them I'd never seen, but one of them was up there that I knew. And he lived up in Paradise also. I don't know what he was doing up there. He's the only one that I noticed. Because I've been doing this for fucking 22 years, 23 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, man, it's so
Is your dog
much.
need water or anything?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
He said, man, it's so
There's a
much
bowl in there,
fucking
yeah,
worse
and
than
there's some
they-
water.
than
If you
they
can just
said.
pour it in the bowl in his car.
Okay.
Thank you.
That cop said, man, it's so much fucking worse than they say.
The
It's
death
so much
Wait, say
worse.
that again. I'm
toll
sorry.
is over what they say it is right now. The first hour they were in there.
1,200 was the first count. Now they're down to under 200, according to the doctor that was just here. So
they
there's
they had to have found the 200
First
people
hour.
that minute they rolled in there. They had to have had 200 people on their
Yeah,
list
right off the gate.
instantly.
Edgewood. How many died on Edgewood?
I know. Well, the trailer parks with the old
That's
people.
another thing. My friend wants to come talk to you. He's very interested in getting what he saw, and he escaped the flame barely. And
They didn't expect anybody to get out of there. They didn't want anybody to get out of there.
I gotta go.
It's just by chance because of family members living in such close communities.
Yeah, right.
You know, the town's up there a few miles away, but we still notice things. We still look up like the chemtrail. We notice things. And when they saw that fire, they called the people they knew up that way because it looked a lot closer than it was. And by chance, they got out of there with their lives. That's it. We still notice things. We still look up like the chemtrail. We notice things. And when they saw that fire, they called the people they knew up that way because it looked a lot closer than it was. And by chance, they got out of there with their lives. That's it. And the rest of the people perished. The rest of the people all died. And the rest of the people perished. The rest of the people all died.
kind of the name of the place.
You want a terminal cleaner?
No, I got plenty.
Pull over. Can we get on
Restaurant?
What?
The Rock House Restaurant.
Were you here when it happened?
No, the firemen forced me out of my house at 3 a.m. in the morning. Then they drove out behind me and it burned a couple hours later.
Wait, the fires didn't start till 6:30.
Got tucking the next morning, Friday morning.
So you stayed here when it started.
Yeah, see, the fire was going west pretty fast, but this way to the south, it was going slower than a baby crawls. They could have easily stopped it at Deadwood or down here at Dogwood, or there was a number of places they could have stopped it.
Oh,
I'm sorry, man. Can we help at all? We got clothes, we got food. Do you need anything?
We've gotten lots of that from donation centers. I appreciate it.
Okay. Do you know where we can give our stuff to, where we can help? Do you know where people need it?
You know what? I know there's a house there on Concal.
So why didn't they come help you?
What's that?
Why didn't they come help you if they could have put it out?
I don't know, but when they forced me out at 3 a.m., I drive down to where the hardware store is 2 miles down the road. There's 50 engines lined up in a neat row. Sitting there dark, multiple dozers, nobody around.
While the fires are burning? Was the road passable here? It looked like this was hell to getting out of here.
Well, Friday morning, yeah. The fire didn't come through the pass up there until about 6 o'clock.
In the morning? So Thursday morning it started at 6:30. Paradise got torched at 8:30 in the
Right.
morning. And that's down below here. So the campfire, they're saying it started up Polga.
Paradise is west.
Okay, gotcha.
And it was moving west pretty fast, but this way from the fire was south, and it was just crawling.
And they had all the bulldozers down below the road here, and they didn't bring them up the
2
hill.
miles down the highway, they had row of 25 parked through the middle of the highway, another row of 25 parked off the side. They had all sorts of equipment. None of it ever got used.
What do you make of that?
Obviously an order was given from the very top not to stop it. They defended select structures here and there,
Hospital was saved,
Yeah,
right?
like
Gas
the-
stations are fine.
like the politician structures, houses. Those are all there.
I hear it's a good old boy network up here.
Fire station's fine. You know.
Why are they clear cutting the trees around the fire stations and off the roads where there's no power lines?
Dude, I came back a few weeks ago. Went up here and talked to 3 PG&E contract tree trimmers. I'm like, guys, you're off your easement here. You're chopping down undamaged trees off your easement.
Off
you're
your easement.
trespassing, you're vandalizing my land.
They got 30 feet off the road, right? There's their easement?
They called the sheriff on me and I got arrested for making criminal threats, which I never made. I just said, stop this, knock it off.
The local sheriff.
Uh-huh.
They got nothing better to do than come arrest you for questioning what they're doing.
They're obviously in bed with PG&E and everybody else that chose not to stop the fire.
So sorry, man.
So sorry.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. Try to rebuild and take it one day at a time, but...
How's it going, man? Yeah, I'm down from Santa Rosa, and we had the same thing happen to us a year ago, and I'm coming up here and I'm saying the same shit.
You guys lost your stuff?
Oh, they torched this area, left the laser company place is fine. They torched another area, left the hospital
laser
fine.
company?
Oh yeah, Keysight, the Packard and Fountain Grove, they burned everything else out, but the Keysight place was fine. No, this was directed energy weapons. They came in here and torched the place. Look at the hill scarring across the Feather River there, and you can see some areas were just like a laser came right down it.
line back there.
Yeah, there's a line right here throughout the middle
Straight
of our property.
line like a laser
Through
line.
dense,
Burnt
thick
and
forest.
Stopped, all of a sudden stopped.
Just have it.
How can I
in turn.
film that? How can I get access anywhere to see it?
You guys can just park here and walk back if you want. I'll show you.
All right, some more scarring, folks. This is the same ridge line we were looking at, a little different angle. Don't drive off the road, Jimmy.
I got it.
Okay. And just the scarring on this hill, surgical. See how it's green, see how it's cut? That's lasers, folks. There's no other reason for that.
Right in the middle of green. Lots of green.
On both sides. It would look like it's something that an avalanche would take out the trees in the middle, or would look something like a laser would do when it's cutting a certain area and surgically cutting an area but leaving the trees whole. They're scarred, folks. It wasn't a forest fire.
Viewers have written in asking if the fire detection cameras on Sawmill Peak or Flea Mountain caught the campfire in its early stages. Well, CAL FIRE says the cameras did record the fire but did not set off an alert when the fire started. CAL FIRE had the alarm feature turned off. They reasoned that the cameras set off they've been setting off too many false alarms when they detect any movement like a tree swaying in the wind. We are working to get the camera recordings, but CAL FIRE may not release them until after the investigation is over.